Alright, hey guys, this is Lord Headass, and it's not my fifth attempt trying to record this, but I got a school project, and I have to talk about something plaguing us in the political world. And it's going to be about the Pine Barrens in New York, Long Island, and it stretches down to New Hampshire and New Jersey, I believe. But it's one of the largest strips of forestry in America, and it's home to some of the most diverse wildlife, and it brings a lot of just like kind of character to these areas. Now, of course, it's a forest, so you know it has some issues. And one of them being housing developments. As you know, housing's tight nowadays, and they're stretching to build more houses to compensate for this. Unfortunately, the Pine Barrens is the perfect place for them to do that. They sell land for fairly cheap, and it's just kind of disappointing to see because I've lived in my house for about 18 years, and when we bought the house, there was trees on all sides of it. Now there's only trees on one side after 3 whole housing developments have been built, and you just hear the birds just start slowly fading out, less and less birds. Another thing is the deer. The deer is absolutely atrocious. Deer everywhere. Deer eat plants, and through this, a lot of areas are just lacking in plant diversity, and it leaves only a couple of types of bushes that the deers don't eat. And when you lack plant diversity, you lack the diversity of a lot of other animals as well, because they feed off those unique plants. Another thing is, I'm going to go over the Hamptons. Why do they build so many golf courses? A golf course takes up so much room. It's ridiculous. Every time I look back, they're building another one. I don't know why, but people have petitioned for them to not do this, but every time they still just do it anyway. It's just so sad to see that everybody's efforts go wasted because somebody wants a new golf course. I think it was 2016 around they built a new one, and there was a petition with a giant amount of traction. And just people organizing, people protesting, and it still resulted in the golf course being built. It just feels like people don't really have a say, and it's worrying to see the future of the Pine Barrens because being a giant forest, it produces most of the air we use day to day. It just makes everything cleaner, and you know, New York's not the cleanest, so it's nice to have that. And another thing harming it, the southern pine beetle. Don't know how, don't know when, but a beetle crawled up here that feasts on pine trees. The Pine Barrens, made up of mostly pine trees. So, having that thing up there is horrible. I remember last year in environmental, we did a project, and we had to go over all the trees that were affected by the pine beetle. We looked at 30 trees, and 20 of them were infected. I worked in arborism and like plant life care for a little bit over the summer. Beetles are an insane issue. They spread so quickly, and will just ravage any area instantly. So the forests have been kind of decaying because of that. There have been some groups that are trying to help keep the Pine Barrens alive. One of them is in New Jersey. They have the Pine Barrens Preservation Group Alliance. Pine Barrens Preservation Alliance, and they go out and protest developments that are being made in the Pine Barrens to try and keep its nature and beauty. Unfortunately, like I said, usually money wins, and we end up losing a lot of the land. Another reason the Pine Barrens are great is because trees do something cool called filtering, and a lot of the rivers that give us our drinking water in New York run through the Pine Barrens. So when you get rid of the trees, the water also becomes less clean, more contaminated, more filthy. So, you know, we live in Long Island. We don't want to be drinking that city water, but the way things are going, let's start to look like we might be. Ooh, a bomb. Yes, my teacher, if you're watching this, I am playing the game in real time while trying to talk, so if I stutter, apologies. But another thing playing in the Pine Barrens, illegal clearing. People are just getting rid of trees illegally because usually people expand their yards and they get a little more than they actually own cleared out. That's pretty common. I've seen that happen a couple times around me. Of course, on the topic of contaminating water due to the lack of trees, water is also just being contaminated. Long Island has a lot of farms, specifically soil farms we have a lot of. And there's runoff, a lot of runoff of fertilizers and nutrients into the streams that go through the Pine Barrens. And runoff nutrients can horribly affect ecosystems. When too many nutrients run through a river, it can cause algae to bloom at such a rapid rate that the algae covers the water and it blocks the bottom of the actual ocean, not ocean, the river. And the plants and animals at the bottom of the river don't get any more oxygen, and it can cause them to suffocate to death. And of course, less fish is not good because that means animals can't eat. I mean, the only animals we really have are deer. And also less sea life, well, river life means the plants aren't getting rid of the toxins that are in the water and everything. So it's just kind of giving a buildup of more contamination that we're drinking. I don't know, maybe I'll cut back to when I get to the final boss just for funsies. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I died and may have rage quit, but I just want to say thank you for watching, and Mr. Braun, you should give me 100, and I hope this gets 100 views, because if this gets 100 views, I get bonus points. And some of my videos hit 1,000, though this is probably one of my worst, or the worst.